as entrepreneurs, we should be giving back to our community. And so through the Chino Neighborhood House, I have the opportunity to serve and to be a part of a wonderful board there where we are providing groceries to anywhere from 1,000 to 1,200 individuals every single month.
President of the West End Real Estate Professionals, part of the Planning Commission of the City of Chino, do-gooder in the community with the Chino Neighborhood House, family man, believer, and an overall amazing guy. Join me this week as I talk with Kevin Cisneroz from Inland Empire Escrow. Hit that like button, subscribe, comment below, keep swinging, and we hope to see you on the next one. Like it's taking anything away.
Right. Well, it kind of become adult toys like that you can just enjoy, right? And technology is such that if it's something you enjoy, it's like, oh, I got a new toy. I want to, I want to figure it out. I want to learn how to use it. And
I think it's kind of like
there's a lot to it. I had a buddy who was running for a campaign, and he was going to do all his own social media. He bought all the stuff, and he got really good at it, And but he would tell me the same thing. He goes, dude, there's so much to it. He goes, I have spent countless hours and days and months figuring and he's a pretty sharp guy.
Yeah.
He's good at it like you are.
Well, thank you. But it's that, right? So it's like what I've asked my friends is that are in film, like, hey, how do I improve my film quality? And first it was like, okay, if you're using your iPhone, like certain settings, like when we had that meeting at WeRep where I spoke,
yes,
it's like change these settings, change your upload rate. They taught me like, okay, what do movies get filmed in? Like certain frames per second, right?
Yeah.
So that was the first thing. And then the second thing was lighting. If you're not going to have lights, then you want to have natural light. After that, then it was audio. Like, how do you get the proper audio? So then I invested in microphones. And each time it's hundreds, if not it's thousands of dollars, like to invest in equipment. And then like when I was speaking with Hector the other day he was talking about my editing, and I said, that's the other part, right? So then we can film as much as we want, but if it's not edited properly, then it looks horrible.
That's what he said. He put so much time in editing, far more than I would have, because I felt like once he recorded something, it'd be a week and a half before he got it out, because he put so much into editing, and it's very time intensive.
No, like even with Hector, I said, look, man, we're gonna say a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah. And
I'll edit it. Like, don't worry, I won't make you look bad. Right. Like, so, but yeah, that's my problem with photographers or videographers, where it takes you a month to send me something. Like, that's old news. Like, I need to get that out. I don't get it, but everybody does, what they want.
It comes down to being too busy.
I don't think it. My opinion is it's just in someone's nature. Like if I say I'm going to do something, then I'm going to do something, and then I feel horrible. I feel bad. I didn't get it done. It's like I have to get it done. One of the things that was told to me early on was, if you want to outshine people, just do what you say you're going to do. Because a lot of us just overpromise.
I don't. Yes, I do.
So it's just do what you say you're going to do. Yeah. It's that simple. Yeah. Right?
Yep.
So the reason we wanted to sit today, part of what we were talking about on the board was, I want to be able to highlight like the board members, right? Like who you are, what you do, why we're part of WeRep.
Right.
So Kevin Cisneroz from Inland Empire Escrow. Who are you?
It's a good question.
Yeah, it's a complicated question.
It is a complicated question. Yeah, and that always changes with each phase and season of life as well, right? And so currently, I'm a father. That's my priority. I'm a husband. That's my priority. And secondarily, being an escrow professional, which for me, the focus is to provide well for my family, provide well for my boys and my wife, who also works for our company, so it makes a nice team. But I take pride.
And she wears those fantastic shoes.
Yeah, gotta have the shoes, absolutely. And I take pride in what we do. I started at our company as a messenger when I was a young man, and just worked my way up and stayed with the company. And it's a great company to be involved with. We've had the opportunity to work together to evolve and grow our company and what we're doing. When I first started there, we were typing out manually receipts and giving carbon copies out. And, as an escrow company now, we're paperless with DocuSign. And so just to see all of the changes in the industry has been a lot of fun as well. And we've helped a lot of people along the way as well. I mean, we've done well over 100,000 escrows. That's 100,000 families or individuals that have been blessed, with a new home or buying, selling, whatever their goals were. We like to say that we're helping people obtain their goal one closing at a time. And that's a beautiful thing.
It's funny you say that because when I started, there were appraisals with Polaroids on them, and
Yes.
like everything was stuck on it, right? And so the way that transactions are done now versus the way transactions were done back then, it certainly helps. Technology helps. Sometimes I think technology hurts, right? Like it can hurt. It
Sure
creates a
can.
huge disconnect. We want to be able to use it to our advantage, but at the end of the day, it's that whole thing of helping those families, right? Helping your agents. Um, when we went to go film at your location in Chino,
Yeah.
right? In Chino,
Yes.
that was a really cool house.
It is. It's
Like,
cool. We
yeah,
we bought that craftsman style house about 25 years ago. We're celebrating our 36th year in the industry, and it's nice to be able to own your own building. And bought the craftsman style house, renovated it, turned it into a complete office, and it's a great place to have.
it's really nice. A
It
lot
is.
of cool
It's
history. A
unique.
lot of,
Absolutely.
and then you have that girl that works there that loves Morrissey. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is
That's
cool.
right. Exactly. It's a natural connect.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're blessed to have a great team. We have offices throughout the Inland Empire, multiple locations,
Where are your
and
offices? Like, where are they all out of?
yeah, thanks for asking. Rancho Cucamonga, San Bernardino, Riverside, Beaumont, and then of course our main office in Chino.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, and when you started off, you obviously started off as a messenger.
Yeah.
What prompted you to get that job? Like as a messenger, like especially at an escrow
Gas money.
company?
As a
Yeah.
young man, it was a part-time job. You could go to school and be a messenger, and I always had a nice car or a motorcycle, and
Uh-huh.
I would
What kind of
deliver with what I
motorcycle?
had. I had a Harley Davidson,
Oh, did
and
you?
I would absolutely take those important closing packages and put them inside of my leather jacket and get on the Harley and ride and deliver packages.
That's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you should do that again. I
And I
think
don't have
it,
a Harley anymore, so
but still, maybe
the
on a
delivery
bicycle
job
or
is
something
over.
like
Yeah,
that.
but it allowed me to learn the industry from the ground up, right? And so now to have the ability to do what I do and to be a partner in Inland Empire Escrow in our branch offices, I'm really happy with what we've been able to achieve as a company in not only, as I said, helping first-time home buyers, single moms, people achieve their dreams, but to also be part of the evolution of escrow. Our vice president of our company is the president of the Tri-County Escrow Association. Our president is the vice president of the Tri-County Escrow Association. So we're very involved in our industry and have been a critical part of, the evolution of escrow.
Yeah, I think sometimes, I talk to newer agents or people that are trying to get in our industry, whether they're loan officers, escrow, and I think a lot of times people are motivated by money, right? Obviously, like, when you're young and you have gas money and you can have fun, that's great. But then when you start looking at it like a career, people are thinking sometimes they're going to jump into our industry and start making money, hand over fist overnight. And part of what I tell people, it's almost like an apprenticeship, right? So I have a lot of friends that are in the tattoo industry, and that industry has changed,
Mm-hmm.
but you are an apprentice for 2 years, for 3 years, where you're literally not earning money. You're there, you're cleaning up, you're mopping, you're sweeping, you're setting up. Then you're doing stencils, you're doing drawings, you're doing all this grunt work to be able to understand and manage. Because at the end of the day, once you become like a full-fledged tattoo artist, it's your own business.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I see people go from office to office to office, just generating an additional pay structure, an additional commission, but in reality, they haven't learned anything. Versus starting off as a messenger and then moving your way up through the industry or the company
Mm-hmm.
itself and being loyal. I think that's one of the biggest things that I see that's missing, where you just go where the next biggest paycheck is, but 0 out of 0 is 0. right? And so,
Absolutely.
what are some of the things that, or some of the positions that you had while you were there? Like starting off as messenger and then going to what?
So I think our company president knew what I was naturally geared towards, which was, being out in the public. And so as I
Oh,
started as a messenger,
really?
yeah, that being a little bit shy, but um, initially, being the messenger gave me an opportunity to meet our clients first and foremost, right? And then I went into the front desk, and that's where I would hand type the receipts and just did minimal things, the prelims, the banking for escrow, and et cetera. But they knew right off the bat that they wanted me to move into what we called at the time public relations, PR, right? And now it's BSM and all kinds of other things, right? And we call it now account executives. But so I have been out in the field for a long time. And as a matter of fact, I have a pleasure of still working with clients that I've been working with for 33 years. They were at my wedding 23 years ago, and we are still working together today. I also have clients that are younger realtors, younger agents who have, as a matter of fact, we just had a new client open up an escrow with us today. And so you've got that whole gamut of people that it's an evolution of meeting people and creating relationships. You mentioned a moment ago that people are chasing the money, and knowing the fact that you can make money hands over fist or hand over fist here in the real estate industry. But money to me is a byproduct of the relationships that you build and the business that you build. I'm not focused on the money. I am focused on the numbers. I do track my metrics, my numbers, and all of that. But to me, the most important and most enjoyable portion of the job are the relationships. And the relationships that I've made with people like you um, tend to convert into transactions, which converts there into money for me and my family as well.
It's a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, once told me to guarantee your future, nurture relationships.
Yeah,
You know, that carrot that people dangle, products or things that aren't necessarily ethical or legal, right? And I think you know what I'm talking about, like kickbacks, for example,
absolutely.
or let me pay for this
Hmm.
in return for this. It's to say, well, all it takes is someone else to just pay a little bit more. Then where's that relationship?
Right.
And so, um, I think that's just very, very important.
I agree, and
Um,
I've got to say, I appreciate our clients because they choose to work with us rather than choosing perhaps gaining more money into their pocket for
yeah,
perhaps working with an in-house escrow or somebody who's going to provide a kickback. They choose to work with us because they appreciate how involved we are in the industry, what we do for the industry as a whole, what we do for them through our escrow service, what we do for their clients, and our relationship. They appreciate that so much they will forego the additional money in their pocket that's being offered by perhaps by other companies or perhaps a broker, and choose to work with us. And so that's very admirable, I think.
relationships matter.
Yeah.
I was speaking with Mike this week, and I don't know how it works for you guys, but for us, like we get headhunted all the time, right? So our numbers are I don't know, I don't want to say a matter of public record, but someone wants to look at what we do as production, it's they'll find it.
Sure.
And so somebody called me I think 2 days ago, and I'm very direct, honest up front, and I don't want to waste their time or my time. And I said, look, if this is a recruiting call, and this is within 30 seconds, right? This is a recruiting phone call. I don't want to waste your time.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere. I've been here for 20 years. So whatever carrot you're going to dangle, keep dangling. Just
Yeah.
put it in front of someone
Yes.
else's face. So I agree with you there. Relationships are super important. I'm a super loyal person. Like I stick with it,
Yeah.
right? Not every
It's
relationship,
admirable.
and the thing at the end of the day, it's like a relationship is work, right? So if something goes wrong, then you address it, then you talk about it, then you fix it. But a lot of people, it's like something went wrong, they just go the other way. But yet, the only way that we learn is if someone tells us what happened, right? Like give me that opportunity to fix that situation. Um,
Well, that
now,
comes with a different mindset as well. And I know
yeah,
that I've, spoken with you in the past that, when the refi market shifted and I'd ask you, hey, how are things? Are things a little bit slow? You would say, no, I'm busier than ever. And the point being that you were making yourself busy through the efforts that you were creating to produce results that were needed. And you shared with me that you were, working 10, 12-hour days because the deals weren't just falling in our laps anymore. So it's a mindset of not chasing a different company based on what they say they can give you, but rather what I can do as an individual for my company by the efforts that I put in. And I think that's very admirable.
It's there's a friend of mine who does wealth management. One time told me there's a time for a show pony, there's a time for a workhorse,
Hmm.
and
Well said.
so I don't shy away from work. One of the things is if I have 2 days off without working or doing anything productive, I feel itchy. Like I don't feel good about myself.
Right.
Like it's just it's very hard for me to not do anything productive. Now, productive doesn't necessarily involve work, right? But me sitting in bed all day, like sure, maybe every 6 months I could take a day, but the second day, like it can't happen. Like I got to make a phone call. I have to do something that is bringing value to the people around me,
Hmm.
and that's just the way that I'm built. Like I can't live differently. That's my truth. And so part of um part of what I see from you and knowing you for a few years, obviously,
Hmm.
is not only what you do with your guys' escrow company, but also what you do with the city of Chino, what you do with the bikes for the kids I've
Hmm.
seen with the firehouse, what you do with the Weston real estate professionals. So can you tell me a little bit about like those things that you do in the community as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the church and the drums.
Yeah, sure. I learned early on that being a productive part of society is extremely important. And
Is
giving
that like
back
your
to the
parents?
community.
Your parents instilled that in
I
you
think
or
so, but also our company president has always modeled that. She's very generous in the community and with her time and with others and with individuals. And so she has been a great example to me of that. And so I also believe, as a believer, that we're called to be good stewards of all that is provided to us, right? And so I believe that if a job's been provided to me, I need to do the best I can with that. It's a opportunity for me that if I have been given time to use that my time in that day, I'm supposed to be a good steward with that. And how do I use it, right? So first and foremost, I obviously dedicate time to my wife and to my family. But aside from that, I also dedicate time to doing things civically in the city, right? As entrepreneurs, we should be giving back to our community. And so through the Chino Neighborhood House, I have the opportunity to serve and to be a part of a wonderful board there where we are providing groceries to anywhere from 1,000 to 1,200 individuals every single month. And they're groceries at no cost. So a family can come in, a senior citizen can come in every single month and get groceries for free to offset what they may not have in their pantry at home. And the realization is we have it pretty nice. We have the ability to go into our house, into our cupboards and our refrigerator, and normally we have food there that we can take out and cook, right, and have a meal. Not everybody has that ability, and so if we can just make that small change. I know you're involved with assisting kids in the city of Rancho Cucamonga as well, and that's why we're so like-minded, and I think we get along well. But I think it's important to give back. And bottom line is, I want to be a part of what's happening in our community. And if I can contribute in a small way, I absolutely want to. You mentioned the city of Chino. I served as a community services commissioner, which is parks and recreation there, for I think 9 years. And then I had an opportunity to be appointed by the mayor to the planning commission. And as a real estate professional, it's a great opportunity to be able to have a say in the development in your city. And it's something that I really enjoy. People sit on the couch and complain about things, and some of us get up and do something about it, right? And I feel blessed to have the opportunity to do so.
it's two things. So with the kids, right, or with the families that you help, part of what was once told to me was like, for example, with foster children, it's like these are the kids in your backyard,
Yeah.
right? So these are the kids that in a couple of years will be 18, right? So we're complaining about, let's say, certain things in society or certain people, let's say, being on assistance or food stamps, and it's like, get off your butt and go work. Okay, I understand that
Hmm.
person's mindset, but if we can help these kids, um, maybe avoid that trap, right? Or just at the end of the day have a good meal in their stomach so that they're not going to school hungry,
Absolutely right.
or elderly, being on a fixed
Yep.
income and not having the money to eat. And it's not taking anything away from me, right? um, why not? Why
Yeah,
not
I
do it?
agree.
And so I was talking to my dad the other day, and he was getting a little emotional, and he was telling me that he had two instances. It was raining like a week ago. It was like raining really,
Yeah,
really
yes, it
bad.
was.
So he's like, "Hey, I was on my way home, and um, I was going one direction, but in the other direction there was a gentleman walking, and he had like a blanket on him, and I knew he was cold." He goes,
Hmm.
"I was cold, and I was in the car." And so he's like, I went home, got him a jacket, got a couple things threw it in the car, and then I went to go look for him. And so as he's telling me the story, again, I said, look, in my mind, that's why I am the way I am. That's
Absolutely.
what I've seen my dad always do. That's what I've seen my mom always do. And we've also been in that position where, I wasn't born here, and when you come to this country, you don't come with a lot of things. And so we've been there, and people have helped us.
Hmm.
And it doesn't take anything away from me. It's just humanity. If someone needs help, like I'm gonna help. So all the things that you do, and we've talked about it obviously off camera, but it's like I appreciate you always wanting to pay it forward. Um, and I enjoy that.
Well,
Uh,
thank you, man. I appreciate that about you as well. And you hear the term "it takes a village," and after a while, you kind of get tired of hearing the phrase, right? But it's true. And if we're all just doing a small part, right? I'm not doing anything incredible. I'm not doing anything amazing. I'm doing a small part. And when we join a number of people doing their small part, it makes a difference in our community, it makes a difference in the world. And you talked about, investing into the youth right now that'll be future productive adults as well. I've had people come up to me and say, "Hey, I want to donate to the Chino Neighborhood House because when I was a child, I could remember my parents coming to the Chino Neighborhood House for help." And so that's a beautiful thing, right? Now they're a productive part of society. They remember how it helped them and their parents when during that time of need. Now they're coming back and assisting us in assisting others.
we want to go watch Jordan Peterson. I think it was maybe like a month ago. It was Mike, Diego, myself, and um, a realtor that does commercial. And one of the things he was talking about, he said, in life, there will always be things that annoy you, right? Bother you. There's always something that's like that doesn't always sit well with you. Maybe it's the education your kids are receiving in school. Maybe it's politics. There's always something that's kind of picking at you. But if it continues to pick at you and you do nothing about it, then you're just choosing to like fester in that feeling.
And it is a choice.
And it's a choice, right? So if there's something out there that is bothering you that you're not let's just say happy about. So for example, like the planning commission that you're
Hmm.
on, right? So it's like we're in real estate. I'd like to have a say in it. I like to be involved rather than tweeting or posting or just festering in your annoyance of whatever the city is doing. Well, you're actually doing something about it. So for you, how has that been being involved in that side on I guess I don't even know what exactly goes on the planning commission. Like how has it been for you? I think you talked about a tree once. Something about the trees. I'm like, wow, like they have like committees about tearing down a tree. But then I see trees, and I have this little tree in the front of my house, and it makes me happy every time it blooms. It blooms these white flowers. Right now it's blooming, so every time I come home and I see these white flowers, I mean, it's just covering my whole front yard.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
But you guys have meetings about whether to tear down a tree,
right.
right?
Because we take it seriously, right? If you have a
Yeah.
California oak and it's protected uh, by the state, you don't want to take that tree down, and especially if it's a 90-year-old, oak tree. But there are instances where the tree is diseased, etc., and it's the one oak tree on a 5-acre lot in a commercial zoned area, and they want to bring in and put a restaurant or something there, and you can't do so while the tree is there. And so you have an arborist come out, they test the tree, they check to see if there's fungus, etc., and if they determine that there are any bugs or fungus or anything like that, then you can remove that tree. But what we will do in place of that tree is plant 2 to 4 more trees in a different location. So yeah, some of those things are hard decisions, but it all comes down to ensuring that the development in your city meets the city's general plan. And sometimes those decisions are hard because, not everybody wants to have high density in their backyard. But we have a housing shortage in California, so sometimes those tough decisions have to be made. And if the general plan in a city states that that area is zoned for high density, and a builder comes and says, I would like to build high density there, you can't say no, right? It's zoned
Yeah.
for that. But we try, and every city tries to zone and build and develop in a balanced manner so that you've got an area for high density, which is supposed to bring down the costs, right? And you have an area for lower density where people want to have a half acre, an acre, that you have those opportunities as well. So it's just developing your city in a balanced nature so that you can have, that anybody can have an opportunity to live in a city that you enjoy so much.
It's I talked to my mom. We went to dinner in San Diego or somewhere near San Diego or Orange County. I don't even know. But no, it's near San Diego. And we're at this restaurant that used to be like a farm or a ranch like 200 years ago. It's like 18, I think it was like 1846,
Hmm.
1845, something like that. Um, and, maybe like a couple blocks away, there was a church, like a mission. And then the beach was maybe about a mile away, maybe half a mile away. And so we were talking about how different life was back then, obviously, right? So if we wanted fish, then we'd have to go fish,
Yeah,
you know. And so when I see things like that, or things that you do um, with the Planning Commission, or I look at Elysian Park, like for Dodger Stadium, like the history that happened there. There's so much and so many smart people that I don't think always get credit, right, for the things that they do to plan out a
sure.
city,
Yeah,
right? Where is the street going to go? Where are certain things going to happen? And there's literally people like teams like yourself trying to figure this stuff out that 100 years from now, right? Like, uh,
most likely going to still be there.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So it's
why the
it's just
decisions are not easy. Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So it's like it fascinates me.
It
Like,
it is very fascinating.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's really really
It's
cool,
very
man.
enjoyable.
Yeah,
I'm sure you'd enjoy it as well.
I'm sure I would.
But you're right. And that's just progress. I mean, all of this area, the entire Inland Empire in Southern California,
Did you grow up
it
out
was
here
all,
in
yeah,
the IE?
absolutely born and raised. And but it was all, farms, vineyards, orchards, all of it. Redlands, Rancho Cucamonga, Chino. Chino was known for dairies. Rancho Cucamonga was known for, oranges and grapes and wineries. And you see those things go away. I can remember in the late 70s, early 80s, driving up Haven, not me personally driving, but driving with my family up Haven Avenue towards Chaffey College, and it was all vineyards
Yeah.
and orchards. And that's all there was, other than the Ontario Airport and Chaffey College in between. It was all grapes. And now you look at, what a great job the city of Rancho Cucamonga has done to develop and bring businesses into the Haven corridor. And it's a beautiful city that's very well developed and planned. But of course, you have people, and I think most of us to a certain degree, miss the vineyards also and that open land and that feel that you have as well. So it's definitely a delicate balance between trying to maintain the history of a city, but not impeding progress as well.
I've had friends, grandparents, and I want to say great grandparents because this is when I was, I don't know, maybe between 10 and 13, and they would tell me like, yeah, we everything around here was just vineyards and orchards.
Yeah.
And we remember walking through the fields like Haven this or and so I love that stuff. I love history. Laura and I went to this town. I think it's called Del Amo or Del Amo.
Yeah.
It's a little bit up north, like Santa Barbara. So Santa Barbara's here, and it sits up top. This hidden little town, one single street that goes through the town, and again, it has like plaques. Like there was this pole that I just remember. I'm like, man, this has been here for like 150 years, right? So I love history. I was
History's
just
rich, and it is quite amazing. And you think about, we enjoy the history that's here in California. Boy, you go back east, and really,
yeah.
it's just amazing.
When I see
Yeah.
that mat Matt Allman,
Yeah.
right? Shout out to Matt Allman
Uh-huh.
and Social Networks. Matt goes out to the East Coast, or I think he likes the New England Patriots,
Yes.
right? So I've seen, and then also John Reyes, where they've gone to like the oldest bar in Boston or
Yeah.
like
How
something like
cool is
that.
that? Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I want to go
Yeah.
to that. It's just,
Absolutely.
it's amazing. So obviously there's the escrow side that you take care of. There's the being involved in the city and the charities, and more importantly, your family. And then the other thing is you're also on the board of the Western Real Estate Professionals. So, what is the Western Real Estate Professionals?
Yeah, the Western Real Estate Professionals is really part of my heart and part of a lot of the originating founding members like Ryan Orr, Brian Whitey, James Cameron, Scott Larson, a lot of those original members, Dan Burns, they're still part of the Western Real Estate Professionals today. But it was that old caravan that we used to have in every city where we'd come together and we'd sit in normally a room, a restaurant, or I think up here it was the local bank conference room, and we'd sit in that room and talk about the listings, and we'd have them printed on paper or with maps, and we'd go out and we'd caravan properties together, and this is in the 80s and the 90s. Well, that evolved over time into the desire to do more with that meeting, and Ryan Orr brought it to the area that, hey, rather than just going out and sharing listings, what if we had educational guest speakers? What if we had industry updates? What if we made this a place where people could come, real estate professionals could come and stay apprised of everything that's happening in the industry? Our industry is always evolving, right? Continuously changing. We just saw a huge market shift. And so, how do you stay up to date with all of the loan changes, with the real estate changes, with all the changes on the RPA that happen once or twice a year? We stay apprised of that at the West End Real Estate Professionals. We're not a non-association. Everybody's welcome. And I enjoy it. I enjoy the education because, much like enjoying history, I just enjoy education as a whole. It's beneficial to me and to my company, and I can then take out that education to our clients and share it with them as well, right? Also, though, equally as important is the relationships that I've made there. One of my favorite portions of my job and this industry is just making relationships and having friends. And you're greatly able to, and I've been able to do that at the West End Real Estate Professionals. People that I've didn't know when I started attending there, 15 to 17 years ago, that have now become friends, great friends. So the networking, the opportunity to share listings, just over the last 2 weeks, as a matter of fact, I've had multiple realtors come up to me and say, I had a showing on my listing from a selling agent that I met here at WeRip last week, that they came out and showcased their listing on the big screen, on the projector screen, and had somebody in the audience say, hey, I want to come out and see it, showed it, and as a matter of fact, one of them sold it. And last week had an offer made based on the relationship that was created at the West End Real Estate Professionals. I've had agents tell me multiple times that they feel more comfortable accepting that best offer for their seller based on the relationship that they have, knowing that that person is going to perform per the RPA through the relationship that they have at the West End Real Estate Professionals. So you cannot put a price on the relationships that you make in this industry and what value it adds to your business. And so all of that is why I'm involved at the West End Real Estate Professionals. I started there as an attendee. I got involved with some of the planning committees for events. Then they gave me the great opportunity to start making coffee every week. So
You make some really good
I make some
coffee.
good coffee. I'm still making coffee every week. But they then asked me to join as a board member, and I now have the pleasure, the great honor of serving as the president of the board for the West End Real Estate Professionals. And George, because your heart is with mine in charities, we're also a registered nonprofit organization, which allows us to host mixers, as we used to call them, but charitable events where realtors and real estate professionals can come together, have a drink, have some fun, and raise money for local charities. Past multiple years, we've been able to give out around 15,000 per year to local charities, and that's what we're doing as a local group of real estate professionals for the West End Real Estate Professionals.
It's it's a great place, right? So education was something for me when I first started, um, that was instilled in me. I wanted to enter this industry as a career. We have the opportunity to make more than doctors and lawyers, and they go to school for 12 years,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. With less student debt.
Right. And so Tim Brahim, used to Timberheen was a loan officer, and he ran this platform. It was called Loan Toolbox at the time.
Yeah, I remember hearing that. Yeah.
And so he said, become a student of your business, right? So what is my business? My business is real estate. You know, like if you start digging into what my business is, well, my business is people,
Hmm.
right? But at a surface level, my business is real estate.
The way of knowledge.
And so things are changing all the time, right? So Brett does an amazing job every week providing a market update
Hmm.
on what's going on in the mortgage market, what's going on in the real estate market. And so that education is, I think, super important, right? Like super important for someone in our industry, not just to sell real estate, but do you have facts? Do you have data? Do you have information to create your own opinions and you can advise your client? And so I think I've been originating loans for 21 years. This would be, how old am I? I'm 38. I'm 38. I think I'm 38. So this would be the 21st or 22nd year in business. And it fascinated me. It just like I remember sitting at an office off of Sierra with a broker, and he sat me down, and at the time he gave me a 1003, right? I think it was 3 pages at the time, legal form, and I read it line by line, right? Every single thing. It wasn't that complicated, but for I was 17 at the time. So for a 17-year-old, I'm like, I have no idea what
Of
this is,
course.
but I wanted to know it.
Absolutely.
I wanted to know guidelines. I wanted to know how appraisals worked, right? How does an appraiser determine value?
Hmm.
If this person is determining value, what are they using to determine that value? Obviously, I'm lending the money, but how are they determining it? And so going to WeRep and hearing the industry updates, hearing what's available in the market, like you said, like the listings that were shown today, or even having the educational guest speaker today talking about 1031 exchange. I need to have all that information so that I can uplift the agents that I work with, which is what you're saying as well, right? To uplift them, to nurture those relationships, and at the same time, it allows us to give back to our community.
Well, and I want to say this as well. We aspire to be the best in the business. And how can I be the best in the business if I'm not plugged in, staying educated on what's happening in my industry? I want to be the best in my business. And so to do so, I have to put in the work. Kobe didn't practice 1 hour a day. Kobe played in the NBA, and after a game that he won, would find a local gym and go and practice more. He wanted to be the best of the best. I want to be the best. So I put in the time, I put in the effort, and I stay educated through groups like the West End Real Estate Professionals. I want to be the best.
Yeah, I think, and kudos to Ryan Orr for putting that together. I was just talking to him today, and he was saying that he's putting another, I think, another 1031 exchange class, but he also wanted some hard money lenders there. He wanted people there. So it's like kudos to him for actually taking charge, taking initiative, and putting that together.
And the information we had today, I don't think that most people are aware of it. Talking about what are the
Heidi
alternatives to
Burns.
1031? What type of trusts can you have in place? We all know of living trusts, but I didn't realize there was a different trust that would allow me to have an option to a 1031 exchange that will allow me to gift the equity to a home when I'm deceased to a nonprofit, but gain those tax benefits now, immediately, and avoid capital gains. That's great education for investors.
I was walking out, and Heidi Burns, um, she said, "Hey, I really enjoyed that person
Yeah,
because I did not know we could do that."
right.
And I mean, I've talked to Heidi and Dan, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Um, one of the events that Jose had, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and they've been doing real estate for 30 plus years, 40
Absolutely.
years.
Yeah.
And so someone who's that well versed in real
Hmm.
estate to find out that there's other options to help save their clients money. It's not what we do, right? So I don't do trust, you don't do trust, we
Right.
don't do 1031 exchange, but hey, I have this person on my team now that can actually help you out and help you keep more of your money and create more generational wealth, which at the end of the day, I think we're all doing this for our families, right? Um, it was a great speaker.
Well, and you talk about the realtors and real estate professionals that have been in the industry for 30 plus years. That makes me think of the young real estate professionals. And I know we have a lot of young realtors that are, in their young 30s, maybe upper 20s. And to consider, how do I compete with somebody who's been in the business for 30 years? I think it's by staying knowledgeable, right? Becoming more knowledgeable, I should say. That if I'm going to compete with somebody who has all this knowledge, how am I going to gain the knowledge just as you did by doing the groundwork to study the 1003 to determine what is a DTI, what is an LTV, how do these things work, right? How do I stay knowledgeable in our industry that's always changing so that when I'm out there on a listing appointment and a client asks me a question, hey, what are my options to a 1031 exchange, or what's happening with the RPA these days, or is there something new coming up with the commission splits, and are buyers going to be required to negotiate their commission with their selling agents as things are changing? If I want to be competitive, I have to not only rely on my wonderful smile, looks, and personality, but I've got to be knowledgeable because people can read through the BS, right? And so if you're gonna be the best, like those star athletes or anybody that we look up to, you've got to put the work in.
I think it's foundation, right? So I used to play sports when I was young, and my dad would always say um, like that person. I used to play a defensive position for a certain number of years, and that person, that kid that I was defending against, crack him, right? Like
Yep,
hit him hard because he's being a show off, right? He lacks the basic skills. And I think sometimes when you're new in this industry, you look at the flashy lights, right? You look at the public speakers that are very motivational, which is great. Some people need it, some people appreciate it, some people like it. That doesn't work for me, right? I know what works for me. What works for me is hard work, right? What works for me is education. There's a lot of different things that work for me that don't work for others. And I think what I get from WeRep is the education. What I get from WeRep is it's knowledge. It's knowledge. It's knowledge versus rah, 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 rah. That's, we don't, I don't think we've had that many speakers that are rah, rah, rah. It's more, these are the meats and potatoes so that you can actually build a very, very solid foundation. So then you can inject your personality, your good
absolutely,
looks,
absolutely.
whatever else makes you you, but to have that good solid foundation. And that's what I think that newer agents can come to WeRep and actually learn to actually see the listings, right? To see the listings in the showcase. Obviously, the market shifted, and I think going back to some of the very very basics is super important. Um, with the upcoming events, I need to get that whatever PowerPoint you
You save
had.
the dates, that
Yeah, I
slide, yeah.
want that.
We've
I
got some
want
great
that,
events
please.
coming up this year.
So, what are some of the upcoming events that people can get involved in with WeRep in regards to the charity work?
Yeah, some of our upcoming events, our charitable fundraiser meetups are going to be hosted here locally in the Rancho Cucamonga Upland area. And, the real estate parties where we get together, we have a good time, we have food, we have drinks. We normally have 150 to 200 people in attendance. And it's all about having a good time. But it's not just that. It's all about raising money for the local charity. So we have upcoming the Patty's Day event, St. Patrick's Day party, real estate party coming up. I believe that is in March. I can't remember what date we chose, but then we have the St. Patrick's Day, I'm sorry, the Cinco de Mayo event, which I think you're going to host for us. We're going to have our annual bowling event. People go, bowling. Oh my gosh, if you've ever bowled with, 200, 250 real estate professionals, it's probably the best party of the year because the drinks are flowing, the appetizers are out, people are bowling, we have awards, and people are just, this last August when we hosted the event, everybody's saying this is just like a high school reunion. We're having a killer time. And then, of course, we have our annual Oktoberfest event. We have our annual Christmas party. Just good opportunities to come together, not only to network and meet up, but to have some fun as real estate professionals and to bring our abilities and our funds together to support local charities. And George, tell us a little bit quickly about some of the charities we've hosted in the last couple of years.
Well, some of the charities would be the Foothill Family Shelter,
Yeah.
right? So I know that that was the last bowling event,
Hmm.
right, that we did. We raised some money for them. The Children's Foundation of America, which supports children in foster care. And then I know that the St. Patty's Day event is going to be for Operation Community Cares. So one of the things that really brought me in to WeRep, not only was it the education, because I'm very big on education. It sounds funny, but when I was a kid, I mean, I've always, my mom would tell me that the teachers would say, he's not a bad kid. He just gets his work done so fast that he goes around and does the other kids' work
Wow.
so that he can go play. And so I've always been able to retain information like I don't know, I've been able to absorb it
Yeah, rapidly.
very, very easily.
Hmm.
And so that education piece that we rep automatically attracted me.
Sure.
But the second part that attracted me was the charitable stuff. And so J61 Media, which did a video about We Rep, they're going to be one of the speakers later this month,
Yes.
talking about social media, TikTok, Instagram, um, obviously all the social outlets to help our agents. They, in one of their videos, and I remember looking back, I mean, we reps donated like over six figures to local charities, and so that's important. You know, all the things that you do, obviously, like in Chino or even as part of We Rep, sometimes it's time that you invest, sometimes it's money, right?
It's
But at the
true.
end of the day,
Absolutely
it's
right.
we're doing
We all
something.
come together to make it happen. Yeah.
Yeah, and so sometimes, you know, speaking with Jasenia from Partfield Escrow, she said she wanted to be more involved. So we reached out to her and said, "Hey, you know what? Oktoberfest, right?" Like, and she said, "Oh my God, I'm so scared. Like, thank you for the honor. Thank
Yeah.
you for thinking of me." I said, "No, you asked for it, right? So you asked to be involved. You told me you wanted to be involved. Well, I'm going to support you, right? You're not going to be on your own, but there's this event that you can host." And so I would just say to anybody who's out there that's in the real estate industry that obviously wants the education, you know, wants the networking to be able to network with local agents in the Inland Empire, to be able to showcase their listings, that wants to hear educational speakers, but also wants to contribute back to the community, should attend our meetings. And our meetings are when?
Every Friday morning, 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., we meet at the Rancho Cucamonga Carolina, no, not the Carolina Owen Center, the Goldie S. Lewis Community Center in Rancho, corner of Baseline and Milliken. And we're in 1 hour, 1 hour in and out, 8:30 to
Is there a
9:30.
membership fee?
No membership fee. Pay at the door $5. That includes a complete breakfast or pastries, coffee, something to put in your tummy. And always a great meeting opportunity. And you have a couple of options. You have an option to do business or to do business better. And I think that's what we're doing at the Western Real Estate Professionals. We're doing business better. Realtors are coming together to connect, to do business, to be successful. Hey, bottom line is we are there to increase our business, to better our business, to increase our bottom lines. We absolutely are. And we're doing that at the Western Real Estate Professionals. Our realtors have attested to that. Our loan officers have attested to that. And I think anybody who's not attending should be attending.
I agree with you, my friend. And one thing I want to say to you, and you have this energy about you, right? I don't know how you have that energy about you at 8 o'clock in the morning on Friday. I'm ready to take a nap now. um, but it's what you do and what you represent for We Rep. So the lady that came today, right, where she said, "Hey, I
Mhm.
saw that video," and it's just you. It's your natural energy. The natural energy that you carry is infectious and people want to be around it. So you want to be around that energy, come and join us on Friday.
Thank you, man. It's, just naturally sharing what you're passionate about as well. And when you love something, you're going to be excited about it.
Yeah, you're excited about it. um, so I guess on the agent side, what would you say is maybe a tip, right? So you obviously work with a lot of agents.
Mhm.
Um, what would be a tip or a couple of tips that you can give an agent right now, or any, whether they're new, whether they're old, whether they're struggling or not? What's something that you can recommend to them?
Invest into yourself. Invest into yourself. Invest into your business. You're not an employee, you're an entrepreneur, and that mindset change is valuable. And when I made that shift in my mind from acting and working like an employee to being an entrepreneur, which means putting more into it, working for it, putting in the hours, putting in the time to educate yourself, you will see a extreme shift in your business when you see an extreme shift in your focus. I think it's right now, if we're in a little slower time in the industry, that's the time to invest into you and your business. And how can you embed your process? How can you embed the services that you provide? How can you educate yourself so that you are the best of the best? If I'm looking to sell $1 million home, I want to make sure that you're knowledgeable in my area, not just on how to put it on the MLS or how to write the RPA, but are you knowledgeable in my area and how to bring in buyers? You know, if I'm a buyer, do you know about the school districts? Do you know about the city? What's going to be built in the area and in the field next to me? That's another thing we do at the Western Real Estate Professionals. We'll have the school district superintendents out. We'll have the city managers out. John Gillison, city manager for Rancho Cucamonga, is going to be out soon. Aquanetta Warren, city manager for Fontana, she's going to be out. So are you the most knowledgeable in your industry? Invest into yourself is investing into your business and investing into your bottom line, and that will make the difference for you.
I think that's great advice, man. It's working on your business versus working in your business.
Absolutely.
And I think sometimes in our profession, we get really stuck in the minutia of working in it, right? We're just in it. We're on the factory floor versus let's take a step back. What products, metrics do I need to have? Not products, but necessarily like what do I need to have? Because I am the business, right? At the end of the day,
Absolutely.
what systems do I have? We're a team that's works heavily on systems. When this happens, then this happens, and if this happens, then that happens. And I was just talking about it to Diego yesterday, and I said, look, it takes time, and sometimes when you review your business plan every 3 months or 6 months, depending on how you're looking at it, well, you need to shift. So the people that shifted a little too late in the current shift, well, they're feeling it. Versus kind of like what you said last time, where people were slow. It's like, hey man, I already shifted. Because if I'm a professional and I have like my pulse on the market, or if I'm working on the business, I'm gonna see it coming. And then it's like,
Absolutely
where do I
right.
need to shift to actually make this work? And what do I need to do? Because what's working now is not going to work 5 years from now. It's what we tell our clients. Look, when you get a 30-year mortgage, it's not a mortgage that you sign up for 30 years and just set it and forget it, because it's very easy to assume that 5 years from now, your finances are going to be different. Your family dynamics are going to be different. You have
Yeah,
a 10-year-old, then now they went to high school, right?
absolutely.
5 years later, then they went to college, or they're done with college. And so money changes.
Yeah,
So same thing as a realtor, as a lender, as an escrow officer, title, appraisers, anybody who's in the industry, you're self-employed. You got to treat it like a business and invest in yourself. So I think that's great advice.
yeah, absolutely. And you're right. As the Western Real Estate Professionals, we're watching that market together. I recall when Randall Lewis came out in 2018, he talked about the fact that the shift is coming. Didn't know when. As a matter of fact, I'd posed the question, and he said, "Kevin, was hoping you wouldn't ask." And but it's a pertinent question, right? And his answer was this: Start. We don't know when it's coming, but it's coming. Start saving your money, and perhaps get a line of credit.
Mhm.
Those who did that in 2018 and 19 and 20 and 22, they're okay right now.
Yeah.
But that was all through the education that was provided to us at the Western Real Estate Professionals, and that we're watching the market together, right?
Yeah.
And living life together, doing business together, it makes a difference.
I agree. And it was good. Yeah, he actually obviously just came out again recently,
Yeah.
and it validated a lot of the things that I had in mind. I spoke about it with Gabriel Kutkowski with Farmers
Hmm.
Insurance, and I told him, I said, when I hear Randall speak, it helps me because a lot of times it helps, like let's say 80% helps me validate what I've been thinking. I'm
Yeah,
like, okay,
absolutely.
I'm in line. I'm good. I'm good.
Right.
I'm
I
hearing
do
it
the
from this
same
guy.
thing. Yeah.
And then there's that 20%. Um, Um, and then there's that 20% of, oh, I didn't know that.
Right.
Like that
Absolutely.
certainly helps. And
Well,
so
then to the Q&A, we also have Q&A with every speaker, every meeting. You get to hear other people's concerns and questions and
where
thoughts,
are their
and it's
thoughts?
valuable. Absolutely. Yeah.
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 So
Honestly, I think that if you're a real estate professional and you're not attending the West End Real Estate Professionals every Friday morning, you're absolutely missing out on opportunity. And opportunity is what we're there for, right? Um,
and people can actually show their listings, right? So right now it's
oh
obviously
yeah,
a different market
absolutely.
where properties before you would list it, and I mean, and it's funny. I was talking to Brian Ibarra from Century 21, Cali Listed. Shout out to Brian. He said a year ago, if you had your property on the market for 5 days and didn't have an offer, there's something wrong with your
Yeah,
listing.
absolutely.
So right now, where agents really want to be able to bring value to their seller, going to the Western Real Estate Professionals, they can market their property
Yep,
online.
absolutely.
It'll go on the email blast. They
Yes.
can come every week and market their property to local agents that are there. I think
Once a month, we'll bring agents to your listing if you sign up for the, multi brokers open caravan that we're hosting. And if I'm
Tina,
a realtor, when I'm going out to a listing presentation, I'm sharing with the seller. Here's what I'm going to do to market your home, right? And in today's market, what I am going to do is I'm going to go to the Western Real Estate Professionals and I'm going to share your listing with agents from multiple local offices. And not only will I do that, is I'll have them come through on a caravan and host a brokers open here and get that traffic through your house. And let me tell you what's powerful as well. Often you've got to share with the seller what changes or adjustments they need to make to their price or with the listing itself, right? And but when you have a group of local realtors, real estate professionals come through and fill out the comment cards via our caravan, and you're able to take that feedback about the sales price, how the home showed, etc., back to your seller. How valuable is that? And so that's what we're offering to realtors who want to come and join us in what we're doing at the Western Real Estate Professionals. But we are trying to provide value to you so that you can do more business and do it successfully.
and I think one of the things, and I want to address this just to make sure that it's out there for local brokers, no recruiting is allowed, right?
Absolutely right.
So brokers can confidently send your agents to receive free education from a public speaker, right? So somebody that's going to bring value to your agents. They're going to get a market update. We're going to feed them. They can promote their listings. They can network, and no recruiting is allowed.
Absolutely right.
So, anything else that you'd like to
Well,
add,
that's it,
share?
man. Just you want to say I appreciate the relationship that you and I have been able to share through the Western Real Estate Professionals and so many others of you. Um, it really is a blessing to me. I enjoy the people that we call it the We Rep family, and that's really what we have become. We celebrate weddings, children, closings. We celebrate new listings, and we've also shared life together in a way of going to funerals together and stuff. So really, we're not only sharing life together, we're doing business together. We're doing it well, and we're doing it very successfully.
I agree, my friend. Well, thank you for sitting with me, chit
Absolutely,
chatting. We'll
appreciate you,
have
brother.
Bill on soon. I talked to him, so we'll have him here. We'll do
Excellent.
him. We'll do Ryan. Anybody that wants to highlight what we're doing together there at We Rep. I want to be able to do my part to give back.
Yeah, me
So
too. And I think that's an important piece that not only are we receiving from our industry, we're giving back, and we want to invite you to do that too through the West End Real Estate Professionals. Let's sell some homes, let's create some relationships, let's do business.
let's do life together.
Absolutely.
Awesome, man. Thank
Thanks,
you.
brother.
Thank you very much, my friend. That was cool. Easy?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
Conversation.
Yeah. So that's it. I'll
I wonder if what time is it?
I'll
now?
edit. It is
12:16. So Ryan's texting.
16.
Do you want to go meet him and look
Actually,
at the
you know
venue and
what?
all that?
Yeah, I can go. I can go. I told him that my 2 o'clock rescheduled, so I told him that I could go. But if it's at noon, right? If he's already there, we can go
It's
now.
12:16. Yeah, we should.
Okay, I'll meet you there
leave.
at
Okay.
Roadhouse.
All right. I'll just tell him leaving George's office now. Do you remember what restaurant?
Roadhouse.
Okay. Leaving George's office now.